Scorpio, listen to me with your whole spirit for a moment, because this is not a message you stumbled into by accident. This is one of those moments where heaven, timing, and your intuition all line up and whisper, "Pay attention now." Lately, you may have felt something strange that you can't fully name, like the air around you is being stirred on purpose, like someone is trying to shake the ground beneath your feet without ever touching you directly. The room is the same, the faces are the same, the conversations almost sound the same, and yet there's a tension you can feel under your skin, a disturbance that doesn't match the surface. You might feel yourself getting exhausted in spaces that used to feel safe, noticing that your nervous system is always on alert, waiting for the next small comment, the next mood shift, the next uncomfortable silence. It's as if someone is rattling the windows of your life just enough so you can't rest, just enough so you start to question whether you even deserve peace at all. And if as I speak you can feel your chest tighten, your heart whisper, "That's me," then stay with me until the very end, because this isn't just a general horoscope. This is a spiritual reading for your soul, and there are things you need to hear before you make your next move. You know better than anyone that not all attacks come in loud, obvious ways. Sometimes the sharpest weapon is not a shout, but a pattern of being interrupted when you finally try to speak, a pattern of doors closing a little too quickly when you walk by, a pattern of jokes that are just jokes but somehow always target your sensitivity, your intensity, your truth. Maybe lately it feels like someone close to you, family, partner, friend, co-worker, even someone in your spiritual community, is intentionally stirring chaos in your atmosphere. They may not be throwing things or raising their voice, but they know exactly which energetic strings to pull to make you feel off balance. They show up late on purpose when it matters most. They change plans without considering you. They withdraw affection and then act like you're overreacting when you notice. They walk in and instantly the room is filled with tension that no one talks about but everyone feels. And because you are Scorpio, soul-deep, intuitive, tuned to what others miss, you notice every tiny shift. You see the way their smile doesn't reach their eyes anymore, the way their body angles away when you enter the room, the way your name is suddenly absent from conversations where you used to be central. You try to brush it off. You tell yourself you're reading too much into it, but your body knows, your spirit knows, your sleep knows. Your peace has been disturbed, and it is not a coincidence. I want you to hear this clearly. You are not crazy, you are not too much, and you are not imagining the unease that has been creeping into spaces that were once calm. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, it is your radar. You have always been able to feel the temperature of a room before anyone else admits that it's changing. When you feel your spirit tightening, your stomach clenching, your chest growing heavy for no obvious reason, around a certain person or in a certain environment, that is information. It is your inner compass saying, something here is not clean, something here is not honest, something here is being engineered to pull you out of yourself. The disturbing of your peace doesn't always show up as dramatic conflict. Often it shows up as subtle erosion. They may start by questioning your memory, making you doubt what you heard, what you saw, what you felt. They might say, "I never said that, you're overthinking," or "I think you just misunderstood." Bit by bit, you start doubting your own reality. Or they may use spiritual language as a cover, acting like your emotional reactions mean you're low vibrational or not healed enough, while they themselves are actively throwing stones. This is not spiritual growth. This is manipulation in disguise. But here is the part they never accounted for. As they are trying to disturb your peace, there is a greater presence securing your foundation. While someone is busy poking at your triggers, heaven is quietly reinforcing your inner walls. You may already have noticed the clues. A conversation you were meant to overhear, a random video you clicked that described your situation perfectly, a dream that exposed someone's true intention, a sudden moment of clarity where you saw through the game in one flash. These are not accidents. This is God, the divine source, whatever name you use for the highest good, stepping into your story and saying, enough. They do not get to rewrite who you are. They do not get to decide how safe you feel inside yourself. The same way a parent watches a child at the playground and intervenes when another child starts to push too hard, God has been watching how your peace has been poked, how your trust has been stretched, how your kindness has been misused, and there is a limit. There is a line that cannot be crossed without consequence. You might not see all the spiritual movement behind the scenes, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. Protection is not always loud. Sometimes it is the opportunity that fell through. The text you didn't send. The argument you decided not to have. The strange delay that kept you away from the explosion. There is a deep truth in every sacred tradition. Your true home is not a building, a person, or a group. Your true home is your inner sanctuary, and that is where the real battle is happening. The ones who are trying to disturb your peace may not be trying to physically move you anywhere, but they are trying to shake the one place you should feel most safe, inside your own mind, inside your own heart. When someone constantly questions your motives, ridicules your emotions, minimizes your pain, or resents your boundaries, what they are really trying to do is move into that inner house, rearrange the furniture, and tell you that it has always been their design, not yours. They want you to question your worth so that you need their approval to feel grounded. They want you to shrink your light so their shadow doesn't feel so exposed. They want you to associate peace with their presence instead of with God's presence, so that you start to believe you can't be safe without them. But you are waking up now. Your soul is remembering that your peace was never theirs to give, and it will never be theirs to take. Scorpio, you carry the energy of the phoenix. You know what it is to be burned and still rise, to have the landscape of your life shaken and still find a way to rebuild. That is why attacks against you are rarely simple. The forces that want to disrupt you understand that they cannot break you from the outside easily, so they try to make you doubt yourself from within. They plant questions, not bombs. They whisper, maybe you're overreacting, maybe you're too sensitive, maybe your standards are too high, maybe wanting respect, honesty, and emotional safety is asking for too much. But let me flip the script for you. What if the reason your standards feel too high for some people is because their behavior has been too low for too long? What if your soul is refusing to tolerate what it once normalized? What if God is using this tension, this unease, this wave of disturbed peace not to punish you, but to pull you into a new level of self-respect, spiritual maturity, and inner authority where you finally say, no more, not here, not in my space? You might have noticed that whenever the disturbance in your life reached its peak, whether through arguments, silent treatments, or escalating passive-aggressive behavior, something in you started searching for deeper ground. Maybe you started praying more. Maybe you found yourself journaling late at night, pouring out words you didn't even know were inside you. Maybe you stood in the shower longer than usual, just letting the water run while your mind whispered, God, please show me what to do. Maybe you began to step away from certain conversations, turning off your phone, walking outside, placing your bare feet on the ground just to remember what still felt real. These aren't just coping mechanisms, they are portals. Each time you chose silence over drama, reflection over reaction, prayer over panic, you stepped out of their game and back into your protection. You unplugged from the frequency of chaos and reconnected to the frequency of peace. That is why you are still standing. That is why even though you've been shaken, you have not been destroyed. Disturbance may have knocked on your door, but it did not get the keys. And I want you to notice something important. Every time you decide not to respond to the provocation in the way they expect, you confuse the very energy that's been trying to destabilize you. When they throw a subtle jab and you choose not to internalize it, When they try to bait you into an argument, and you reply with calm clarity or no reply at all, when they downplay your presence and you still treat yourself with tenderness, you refuse to be moved from your inner seat. That does not mean you tolerate abuse, betrayal, or disrespect. It means you choose your responses from a place of self-respect instead of from triggered panic. You stop trying to win their approval and start protecting your nervous system. You start recognizing that sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is lock your door, silence your phone, and let God handle the conversations you are tired of having. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. And it's in that quiet, seemingly small choice where protection becomes real. Doors close that need to close. Masks slip on their own. True intentions reveal themselves without you having to destroy yourself to expose them. For some of you, the space being protected is a literal home. Someone may be trying to pressure you to move, to give up your room, to leave a relationship, to walk away from an inheritance, to sign something that does not sit right in your spirit. Pay attention to the check in your chest. Pay attention to that moment when the pen hovers over the paper and everything in you whispers, wait. Delays can be protection. Hidden information can be protection. People revealing their true colors at the last second can be protection. For others, the space is emotional. A friendship where your peace has been slowly drained. A family dynamic where you are always the scapegoat. A workplace where you've carried responsibilities that were never yours. God is not only protecting your physical location, God is protecting your right to exist without constant war in your spirit. If a door closes in this season, ask not just what did I lose most, but also what level of disturbance did I just get spared from. If someone walks away, ask not only why didn't they stay, but also why was I still trying to keep them in a space that no longer matched who I'm becoming. Scorpio, there is a promise over your life that your enemies do not have to understand for it to be real. When you were formed, you were not given a spirit of fear. You were given a spirit capable of deep perception, deep loyalty, deep transformation. That means that even in seasons like this, where you feel watched, tested, undermined, or misunderstood, there is a higher plan that refuses to let your story end in defeat. The very people who are trying to disturb your peace today may one day have to watch you stand in greater stability than they ever imagined for you, not because you got revenge, but because you chose not to abandon yourself. You chose to stay rooted in your integrity. You chose to return again and again to the one who sees your heart, even when others twisted your intentions. Your stability will not be built on their apology. It will be built on your alignment with truth. And that kind of stability cannot be disturbed for long, because it is not anchored in fragile human approval, but in a deeper covenant between your soul and the divine. If this message is stirring something inside you, if you feel that quiet recognition rising in your chest, that sense of, this is my situation, take a moment and affirm it with intention. You can write in the comments, I choose peace and God protects my space. Or any simple sentence that feels like your truth. That is more than engagement. It is declaration. It is you stepping onto your own side, choosing to agree with protection instead of with disturbance. Breathe in slowly and feel your shoulders drop as you exhale. You do not have to earn the right to be at peace. You were born with it. You might have forgotten it in the noise of other people's projections, but it never left you. This channel, this message, this moment is just a reminder of what your soul already knows. Where you are meant to stand, you will stand. What is meant for your highest good cannot be stolen by gossip, by envy, by silent treatment or strategic cruelty. It may be delayed, rerouted, reshaped, but it will not be denied. And as we begin to close this message, let these words settle softly around you like a cloak. No matter who is trying to disrupt your energy, they do not have the final say over your life. Their opinions are loud, but they are not law. Their disapproval is heavy, but it is not destiny. You are surrounded by more unseen support than you can comprehend. Some call it angels, some call it guides, some call it grace, some call it favor. Whatever name you use, know that you are not fighting this battle alone. In nights when your heart was racing and you didn't know why, something holy sat beside you. In moments when you almost replied to that message, almost agreed to that demand, almost gave away more of yourself than you wanted to, something held your hand still. That something is not random. That is the quiet, constant refusal of the universe to let you be taken out of your purpose by people who don't even know what they're touching. Your peace is sacred ground. Your mind is sacred ground. Your body is sacred ground. Your home, whether inner or outer, is sacred ground. Treat it as such and watch how quickly life begins to rearrange itself around that truth. This story you've just listened to, this flow of insight and imagery, is not a rigid prediction carved in stone. It is more like a mirror held up to your spirit, a reflection of one powerful possibility, a gentle thought experiment for your soul. If these words resonate with you, Scorpio, if they awaken an inner knowing and make you feel seen and strengthened, then keep what nourishes you and let it guide your next step. If parts of it do not fit your life, allow them to pass by like clouds moving across a wide sky, because not every message is meant for every heart in the same way. This is not meant to replace your own judgment, your faith, your professional advice, or the choices you must make in your real, complex, beautiful life. It is an invitation to remember the power already living inside you, the power to choose peace, to set boundaries, to ask for help, to rebuild, to attract profound change. Whether it comes through a conversation, a decision, a closed door, or a new beginning rising quietly within you. If you feel held by this message, like the video, share it with another Scorpio who needs a reminder that their space is protected, and subscribe so we can keep walking this path of light, depth, and healing together. Your peace is not fragile, my dear Scorpio. It is guarded, it is blessed, and it is yours.